Sir Isaac Newton, legendary scientist, alchemist, theologian, author, Warden and Master of the Royal Mint, and built the first practical reflecting telescope. Number 1. Isaac was deeply interested in how the world works. Much, if not all his research was in an effort to answer that question for himself. According to the Julian calendar, still referenced in the region at the time of his birth, Isaac Newton was born on December 25th, 1642, in Woolsthorpe, Lincolnshire, England. He was so weak and small, it seemed unlikely that he would survive. Number 2. He was so frail, for a time he needed a supportive collar to hold up his head in order for him to be able to eat and even to breathe. Isaac's father died 3 months before he was born. When he was only 3, Isaac's mother remarried and moved to live with her new husband. Isaac stayed with his grandmother, but suffered terribly at the rejection by his mother. Number 3. At school, Isaac found inspiration in studying mechanics and working on his own inventions. At only 12, Isaac's mother withdrew him from school and intended for him to run the family farm. Isaac disliked farming so much that he was allowed to return to school. Thanks to the influence of his uncle, Isaac attended the University of Cambridge's Trinity College, where he did chores like emptying chamber pots so he could afford his tuition. Number 4. In 1665, the bubonic plague forced many institutions closed, including the closure of Cambridge University, sending Isaac back home. In the countryside, he found himself isolated and took advantage of the time to work obsessively, developing his theories. When it was safe, Isaac returned to Cambridge. He was later made a fellow for his work, and not long after he was appointed as a professor. Number 5. In 1671, Newton invented a refractive telescope using mirrors, which earned him an audience with the Royal Society of London to share his work. In 1703, he was made president of the Royal Society, a post he held until his death in 1727. Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, the first edition printed in 1687, displayed Newton's laws of motion and universal gravitation. It is considered among the most fundamental works in science history. Newton mathematically described gravity, tidal movements, comet trajectories, precession of the equinoxes, classical mechanics, and that the motion of objects on Earth and celestial bodies could be accounted for by the same principles. Number 6. Newton's work drew recognition, and he served 2 terms in British Parliament as a representative of Cambridge University. His renown also earned him a patronage position as warden in 1700 and later master at the Royal Mint, a job he kept for the rest of his life. Newton took the role more seriously than any other previous warden. He launched a project to track and prosecute currency counterfeiters and frequently handled the investigations himself. Number 7. In 1705, Isaac was knighted by Queen Anne. When he died in 1727, he was buried with full honors in Westminster Abbey. In 2010, a piece of the ancient apple tree from which Newton's inspirational apple fell was carried on board the Space Shuttle Atlantis to celebrate the 350th anniversary of the founding of the Royal Society. Like and subscribe. New videos every week. Check out the SDH Legend Library in the description below. SuccessfulDailyHabits.com. Learn from legends. Be legendary.